Let's open this meeting of the Plan Commission of the Village of Morton for Monday, August 22nd, 2022. Call to order and roll call.
Guile. Absent. Knapp.
Here.
Ritterbusch.
Here.
Keach.
Here.
Zobrist.
Here.
Opperly.
Here.
Yordi. Absent. DeWeese. Absent.
And we have a quorum.
Yes, we have 5, yes.
Okay. So now we need to review and or approve the minutes from the last meeting, which was May 23rd, 2022. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
And second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, now we're at the public hearing portion of the meeting, and before we do that, we're just going to have our attorney, Mr. McGrath, give us a few comments about public hearings.
Thank you. Public hearing is being held tonight pursuant to published notice. Any person wishing to make a comment to the Plan Commission will be afforded an opportunity to do so and will give their testimony under oath or affirmation. Any person living within 250 feet of any property at issue wishing to cross-examine a testifying witness may be afforded the opportunity to do so at the discretion of the chair. At the conclusion of the public hearing, the Plan Commission will make its recommendation to the Village Board. The Plan Commission makes recommendations only. The Village Board is responsible for taking final action on these matters.
Okay, thank you, sir. So the first item on our public hearing agenda is petition number 22-07SP. Subject property is located at 800 West Birchwood Street. A petition has been filed requesting a special use at this property. The current zoning is I2. The proposed change would be I2 with a special use to permit a recreational facility. Is there anyone from the petitioner who would like to make public comments this evening? So stand and be sworn in here with this young lady.
Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, so help you God.
Okay, please go to the microphone and state your name and address.
Justin Balkema. I live on 600 East Tyler Street in Morton, Illinois. I'm the owner of Be Relentless Training and Sports Performance in town.
Okay.
So yeah, we're hopefully looking to purchase this new property. We've been super blessed here in Morton. We've been renting actually from Mathis Kelly in town. We actually started in Impact Fitness, renting their garage for a while, and super tiny space. We outgrew that space pretty quick. And then, yeah, we've been over by Mathis Kelly renting from them for about 2 years now. And yeah, we've just completely outgrown our space. We ended up creating another room with even more square footage, but it's currently 2 separate rooms. So we're really only able to get maybe 6 to 8 in each room safely. And because of that, we've had to keep adding more and more time slots, and we're kind of out of time slots, especially in the winter time. So I'm just looking to get some additional space. That way we can not only help more people, but we can, more safely help those people. We can spread people out a little bit more. The increased square footage is going to help us out a lot in the winter time, obviously, when we can't be outside. And it's going to allow us to kind of maximize our, revenue expenses as well, just because right now we have to have 1 coach in each room. We can only have 6 people per room, where we can now have bigger classes and then more coaches present to give people not only a safer experience, but to help more people as well. So. Awesome.
Any questions for the petitioner from the board?
Awesome.
Hearing none, thank you very much.
Cool.
Is there anybody from the public who'd like to speak to this petition? Hearing none, then we can discuss it now as a board. If anybody has any comments or questions, any discussion we need to have about this? If not, let's hear a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
We have a first and a second.
Keach,
Yes.
Net,
Yes.
Opperly,
Yes.
Ritterbusch,
Yes.
Zobrist,
Yes.
approved.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so the next item on our agenda is actually, you take these two items and you put them together, and that's the item on our agenda, which is an amendments to our municipal code, paragraph 10-4-3, and then all the related amendments that were related to the amendments to that. So I'm going to let Patrick McGrath tell us a little bit about what this is about.
So the existing structure of your code has in section 10.4.3 a series of exceptions to the required yard space. And in coordinating with staff, it was both my preference and I think staff's approval of my preference that a lot of the material in 10.4.3 should be distributed into the individual zoning districts. What the changes that are before you would propose to do, which is just a code cleanup, is take anything related to the R1 district out of 10.4.3 if it's R1 specific and put it into R1. Anything RS into RS. So what you're left with in 10.4.3 is generally applicable exceptions that could apply across any zoning district, but any exception specific to a district or to several districts is now would be written into those individual districts' regulations. What that would allow is when somebody wants to figure out what their setback is for their new construction, they have to look one place in the code and not one place plus cross-reference somewhere else. That would not be readily apparent to someone who's unfamiliar with our code. The substantive changes we're making are twofold in this ordinance. One, we're setting a 20-foot minimum setback for accessory structures from the street on corner lots. So normally those accessory structures would have to be set back in the same way the house is set back from the street, but you could have circumstances where there's not a 90-degree corner, so a road peels back, so a more pie-shaped lot, and based on the way our setbacks are, that could leave the accessory structure very close to the road. So we're proposing a minimum setback that has to meet the normal setback and has to be at least 20 feet from the road. So if you have that odd scenario, we're covered. The second change is a change in our driveway standards. That was an ordinance that came before you a couple of years ago and was thoughtfully considered, some diagrams included in the code. Sometimes when an ordinance kind of rubber meets the road, you find out where there's an issue. And what was observed in practice is that our standard for single car garages likely wasn't reflective of what's prevalent within the village. And so staff recommended a change which would allow slightly wider driveways for single car garages. So 3 changes. One, making what we call a ministerial or non-substantive change to move things around in the code. Change 2, 20-foot minimum setback off the street for accessory structures. And 3, we are, I just lost my train of thought completely because it occurred to me there's one other thing we're doing. And we're replacing the driveway standards for one-car garages. One other clarification is accessory structures in B3. Those weren't addressed previously, and we included language permitting accessory structures in B3 under the same standards as what is present in other areas where accessories are allowed.
Okay. So there are no other changes. You're just shifting things around mostly, except for those things that you just mentioned. Okay. And I have a question about the diagram. We were given a clarification that it says 18 feet max width is crossed out, but actually it shouldn't be.
Correct.
And that yellow area says shaded areas shall be grass or landscaping only. And
So
I got
the 18 foot would be at that right of way, be behind that sidewalk. So where it comes down and meets basically the approach or sidewalk, that's the 18 foot that used to be 20 or used to be 14.
well, it's shown in the right place, right? The dash line.
Yes.
My question is, the area that's shaded yellow, there's a note to the left of the driveway that says that this this shall be grass or landscape only, not concrete. Is that,
So when you have, if you're at the approach and it's 18 feet, you can go wider than that. You can go a maximum of 24 feet, but you have to go at a 1-to-1 or at a 45-degree angle. So the issue is sometimes people would go that 1-to-1 and then they would just fill in that area with rock or brick or something of nature and use it as a driveway.
I think there, to my eye, it just appears that the line, when the drawing was updated, that line should point slightly further past the yellow shaded
yeah,
area.
it's not clear right now. Or do you have that drawing in front of you, Brad?
I'm sorry? So that actually should be this area. Yep. So we can clean that up. We can
Okay.
extend down into that 45 area.
All right.
Really, we just need, so we need to extend that arrow and
Okay.
identify that spot.
Very good.
We can do that.
All right.
It should be here.
Any other questions from the board? Well, let me first ask, well, any questions for the petitioner from the board? And then I'll open it up for the public comment if there is any.
Pat, just to clarify, the majority of the, outside of the changes that you mentioned, about anything that's highlighted in green here has just been moved to the appropriate section. Is that
Exactly.
right?
Yes, sir.
So I would have one comment about, I mentioned this to you about the, when we have a parking lighting, it's mentioned that must be 3 feet within the landscaped area and shed no light on neighbors. And I think that's impossible. So it would be nice if we could have some kind of a foot candle, quantifiable amount of light that's allowed. And it can be, it's less than a foot candle, obviously, but otherwise there's just no way to meet that. I mean, otherwise. So,
And I think that language is existing language we're moving. I think we could certainly work on a supplement to this ordinance, perhaps addressing just that individual issue.
sure. Any other questions for the petitioner? Is there anyone from the public who would like to address this ordinance change? Seeing none. I would either have further discussion or entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the changes to the code.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Any further discussion? If not, let's call the roll.
Procedurally, how do I, with Michael, you want to?
He would vote, he'd just indicate that he arrived at 7:13 in the minutes, and then he would call his vote.
Thank you. Net,
Yes.
Ritterbusch,
Yes.
Opperly,
Yes.
Zobrist,
Yes.
Peach,
Yes,
Yordi,
Yes.
approved.
it's approved. So that ends the public hearing portion of the meeting. Do we have any other business to talk about tonight,
I don't have
Mr.
any.
Marks? None? Okay. In that case,
I'll make a motion.
we have a motion to adjourn. Yes,
Second.
a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.